Chairman, sir. I'm overwhelmed by the across-party consensus which has evolved in giving support for this bill which we proposed today. I'm in fact very touched by the kind words which have been uttered by each one of the speakers. I'll start with my eminent predecessor, Honorable Member Shri Anand Sharma ji, who's not here at the moment, who had worked on this bill, and I put it on record that he had spent a lot of time working on this bill and brought it in this house earlier. And as he's pointed out in his speech, quite a few of those outside India activities of the NID had been taking place during his tenure, particularly that which happened in Ethiopia and parts of Africa, all of which are recorded in the NID's document. But just let me recall that the objective of this bill is to give the National Institute of National Importance stature to the institute which is in Ahmedabad with two of its satellites, which are in Gandhinagar and in Bengaluru. Quite a few members have raised issues about what exactly is the definition or description of institution of national importance. I'll put it on record here, sir, and many members do know that there are more than 40 institutions of national importance in this country. Each one of them are declared so for the uniqueness in their character, for the specialized work that they do. And once we start defining what is national importance, it restricts the uniqueness of each of these institutions and probably will put them into one box and make them not so flexible. The whole idea of an institution of national importance, particularly in areas which demand creativity, is to not restrict them by definitions which may constrict them from being creative. And therefore, as was discussed elaborately in the Departmental Standing Committee on this matter, which is also part of the bill's appendix annexure, the idea of not defining what a national institute of national importance is with a purpose. And the purpose is that each of these institutions should have the autonomy to define for themselves what they should want to do and encourage creativity. So, Honorable Member K.N. Balagopalji raised that, and I would want this answer to be given to others also who raised this issue on what exactly is this definition of Institute of National Importance. Each institute, particularly because it spends a lot of time in creativity and have very eminent people in their governance councils, will be in a position to define for themselves what this institution of national importance would mean for themselves. Questions about what the faculty would be. Again, Honorable Member K.N. Balagopalji raised this. I would want to assure this House that faculty, particularly in institutions of this nature, do not just go by their degrees. They go by their degrees and wide-ranging experiences with which they have come there. It is the experience, or in fact, as my colleague, Honorable Tarun Vijayji spoke, and also Shri D.P. Tripathi spoke, pyramids were built, earlier temples were built, wonderful structures of heritage have been built, not by degree holders. This is not to undermine degrees or people who possess degrees or just degrees, but people who are master craftsmen and people who have extreme creativity in them have also brought in such qualities with which faculty of these institutions have had enriched experience and therefore brought in certain caliber to the institution. And therefore, we are not only defining teachers with their degrees or with their training, but we define them also with the quality of exposure, their master skill that they possess the skill sets with which they come, and above all, the creativity, which is, I think, fairly difficult to measure. So I wouldn't want to restrict the teachers and their qualifications just for, or on the basis of degrees, but also on the basis of the quality of skill sets and creativity with which they come. So let me assure this House through you, Deputy Chairman, sir, that the faculty and the quality of the faculty is not going to just be confined to the degrees, but by the time tested and peer group tested skill sets, and therefore the faculty will be of high quality. There was also this question raised whether there would be restricted only to those discussed 4 centers other than the 3, 1+2 satellite that we are talking about. But at this time, the bill is not talking about any number of institutions, although all of us will be interested in creating more such institutions of excellence, and that would be something for future rather than talk at this time when we're introducing this bill with a desire and a request that it be passed. So we are not talking about other institutions at the moment, but the country would be better off if, of course, all of us can agree to have more such institutions. Very valuable and important issue was raised by Honorable Member Narendra Kashyapji about reservation. Let me assure you that this institution, as it is, and in the future too, will be following the reservation policy as is enshrined in the law of this land, and that without any dilution, this reservation policy will be followed, and that can be an assurance on the table. And I assure Honorable Member Kashyapji on this matter that there is no attempt here to dilute. On the contrary, this institution is already fully, for staff and for students, following reservation policy, and this will be followed for other institutions which in the future may get established. I can assure you on that. About how this would be inspiring more youth to join in such an institution, I would like to say the quality and the excellence that has been achieved by NID in Gandhinagar, Ahmedabad, Gandhinagar and Bengaluru itself speaks for itself. And as to how internationally these students have been taken off from the campus, and they are much sought after in terms of employment potential. And therefore, that itself stands as a motivation or inspiration for many more youths to join these institutions. And once we legalize this, in the sense, give a statutory status after passing this bill, I'm sure there will be a greater incentive for Indian youth to join in a big way. As regards the quality of teachers, again, there is, I wish to say here that the NID will have autonomy to increase the number of seats for students, and therefore the intake can also in the long run be increased. And just not in one, but in many number of disciplines. With all this as specific answers to those questions which have been raised by honorable members, I would like to assure you that this institution is going to stand for excellence. We had Honorable Member Badnorji speaking about endowment fund which should be created so that it doesn't run short of resources to do excellence and provide probably scholarships. Let me just point out to the Honorable Member, Section 24 of the bill has a complete narrative on endowment fund which is being provided. So with these specific answers, I would only say, without taking much of your time, I'm very grateful indeed that this House in one voice has recognized this institution of excellence, which has been there for last 40, 50 years in this country, and it has only provided diplomas, but today they will be in a position after this House, August House, passes this bill, that they will be able to provide certifications such as degrees and even provide postgraduate degrees and MPhil and PhD too, thereby bringing great strength for students who clear from this institute. And this code, we will ensure that students with high quality also enter this institution in the future. With this said, I'm indeed very grateful to every member who spoke and those who have not spoken but who are going to stand by this bill and enable passing of this bill in one voice. I'm indeed grateful on behalf of myself and also on behalf of my party and the government, which has chosen to have this as the first bill in this session. I'm indeed grateful to all of you all for passing it without much of a dissension. Thank you.